Hi, and welcome back. Our Oak Bay senior debaters are going to continue their conversation on the role of mass media in democracy. For the second part, we're going to be having Marlène de Sepibus speaking for the resolution, followed by Vida Zhang against. We're going to follow the same format again with 4 minutes for Marlène to start. Vida will speak for 6, including a rebuttal, and then give Marlène an opportunity to rebut and conclude the ideas with 2 minutes at the end. Thanks.
Good afternoon. As my compatriot has previously said, we are for mass media and democracy. He has already offered you some points, and I shall bring forth some others. Now, an important thing is that media is free. Now, this is a good representation of the freedom of speech we have in this democracy we live in, but it's also an important thing because it lets bring out truthful information. By the fact that journalists are allowed to go and dig in when invoking the rights of free media, they're allowed to bring up some truth that sometimes people would rather not be giving out. Of course, that is kind of a controversy when talking about gossip magazines, but that's not the issue. So, the way this really helps democracy is when there is a vote for a new leader or a new law, really just any kind of vote. Now, the journalists will be able to go and deep down and make sure that everyone voting knows exactly who or what they're voting for, and not only what a campaigner would like them to believe they are voting for. Now, the use of media for a lambda's political point of view is not only seen in what a journalist or any kind of media will bring out and show, but also in what they cannot show, what they are not allowed to say. For example, something happens in some important place. People are curious, and a journalist arrives to research. If he's allowed to come in, well, all is well. He rates his thing, makes his movie, and everyone is informed of how the country is doing. But now, if he's not allowed, this brings forth that there's something suspicious going on, and that the people included in the issue are not to be trusted as well as we think they should be trusted. Speaking of trust, media, especially oral or film media, TV or radio, are a perfect way to record promises done by politicals. If it is filmed or recorded, there's no way they can say, I did not say it. I will never be able to say I did not do this because you're filming me right now. But let's maybe bring out an example. The United States president of 1996 to 2000, Bill Clinton, he was suspected of having an affair with Monica Lewinsky. Now, he denied it. And later it was discovered that he was saying the truth. No, he was lying. So when that came out, that he was lying, he bluntly lied to everyone while promising he wasn't doing it, he almost lost his presidency. Now, this is how media can help us bring the real truth to the public eye. And more importantly, there are more than one media. Every media has more than one publisher, and in the same way, there is more than one truth. And the truth will be presented in different ways or manners. A stat can lie. A fact can lie, even if you believe in them as a fact can lie. A truth can lie. A stat can lie. And this is how having various medias offering various points of view helps democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlène. And Vida will now have 2 minutes that she's going to be rebut before she brings 4 minutes of contentions forward. Vida.
We, outside Negative, strongly believe that media is bad for democracy. Before I begin my own arguments, I would like to rebut a few points made by Marlène. Marlene has stated that a fact can lie and a stat can lie. However, I would like to point out that this is not lying. This is merely presenting the same fact from different perspectives. This is merely the different ways of presenting a fact. However, mass media has the power to lie outright to the public's face. Instead of just manipulating the fact to make it look a little bit leaning a little bit differently, the media can have very different ideas about the truth than what it actually is, and therefore misinforming the public. She has also stated that media will help politicians to keep their promises because since everything is recorded, there is no way that a politician can deny what he or she has done. However, I would like to point out that this is also manipulated by the different biases of the media. For example, if media A supports a certain politician, then when the politician makes some juicy promises, the media A will report in full details. But when that politician breaks his or her promise, the media A might choose to downplay the event or even not report it at all. On the opposite side, if media B does not support that certain politician, then they would not report the politician when he or she makes the promise during the campaign, so that people who watch media B only will not be influenced by that promise and possibly vote for that politician. However, when the politician breaks his or her promise, media B can go in full detail on the event and even pull out the footage from before when the politician made his or her promise, which completely destroys the credibility of that politician. Now, I would like to begin my constructive arguments. Today, I'm going to bring forward about how there's corporate influence on the media and how the media can be biased themselves. Firstly, I'm going to talk about how there is a strong corporate influence in the media. Media outlets, especially private media outlets, are largely funded by the advertising fees from corporations. Corporations pay the media outlets for airtime of their advertisements in hope of attracting more customers. The more customers, the more profits they will get. Corporations are profit-oriented. So, say if there is a report of something negative about that corporation, then the corporation is not going to want it to be aired, because once it is aired, there will be a negative effect on the general public, and they might lose customers, which means the losing of profit. In order to prevent the program or the report from being aired, the corporation can threaten the media outlet not to report the event or to stop paying their advertisement fees. Now the media outlet is faced with two choices. The first is to report the event anyways and probably lose a huge part of their funding and maybe become bankrupt, or simply to not report the story. Now, I think most likely the mass media outlet will choose to simply not report the event. And now, the mass media got its funding, and the corporation doesn't lose any customers. And it is a happy ending for everybody except for the public. The public is now ill-informed on certain events that they should be extremely informed on, and in the long run, it could influence the general decision of the public as a whole. That means that corporations can be doing some very bad things and still gain a huge amount of profit. Now, I would like to move on to my second point, which is how media would be biased on its own. Most media outlets have a certain political agenda or bias. Most media outlets has a certain political agenda or bias. It has a certain ideology, and it supports the politician with the same ideology as the media outlet. In order to influence the public to vote for that certain politician, they would report events in the politician's favor. For example, I hope everybody agrees that global warming exists because that's a scientific fact. However, different media can choose to report that differently. Some media can say that it is completely not true, and some media can make it so exaggerated that we feel like we're going to die tomorrow. And that concludes my speech.
Thank you very much, Vida. Enlightening indeed. Marlene, your opportunity, 2 minutes to close.
Well, thank you. I would like to point out that the only time I really heard about a lot of people believing that they would die soon is when the movie 2012 went out, and that was a joke. Now, I would like to rebut some of your points. You talked about how corporations may force media because they were advertising in it and wouldn't bring any more money if they published some bad information about this corporation. But that's why multiple medias exist. If this TV can't say this, well, then the other one will say it instead. And so the information will still be released. You also talked about how they are based because of political agendas. Well, same thing. Same thing. When one media will not be able to say something completely pro-green, then another one will say something completely pro-liberal or pro-communist in some kind of events. Well, then the public will be able to see the 3, the 4, the 5, the thousands of opinions presented, and thus get the best ideas out of it. They also talked about how they can present global warming, and they would present it differently, but you also said that perspectives are not lies when I talked about how stats could not bring out the real truth. Well, you just brought my argument back, so I don't really get what you were saying. And you're talking about how a media can lie. A company is a company. So they can't lie. If they completely lie, they will lose the trust of the people put into them and lose their clients, lose money, and go bankrupt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enlightening indeed. All 4 of you spoke brilliantly. Oak Bay High School, grade 11 debaters, the media and democracy. Thank you for watching.